Hello, and welcome to Message in the Middle with Marianne. We all know that life is hard, right? It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it can be wonderful all at the same time. My hope is that we can take a deep dive into self-development topics and explore life's lessons through book clubs, conversations, and interviews. And together, we can uncover the lessons that others have already learned to help us navigate this crazy, wonderful ride called life. Hello and welcome to Message in the Middle. I'm your host, Marianne, and while I value all of my guests and believe each conversation brings something meaningful, today's episode feels different. It's felt different from the moment I wanted to do it. It feels like a special gift, and I'm truly honored to be able to share it with you. Today, I'm sitting down with Dr. Greg Nelson. With a doctorate in leadership and organizational development, Greg spent more than 2 decades helping leaders become more self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and authentically influential. He's coached and spoken for thousands of clients like Gates Foundation, American Express, Amazon, and Walmart. His life's work has been about guiding people to lead with clarity, courage, and heart. And now, in the face of his 2024 diagnosis with early-stage Alzheimer's, rather than retreating into silence, Greg's chosen to share his journey out loud with honesty and vulnerability as he steps into advocacy and storytelling around aging, identity, and cognitive decline. This conversation isn't just about his illness, though. It's about presence, purpose, and the sacredness of now. It's about what it means to hold both joy and sorrow at the same time, and it's a powerful reminder that even in the middle of loss, there can still be connection, discovery, and meaning. Greg, thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot to me to have you here for this conversation.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you, Marianne, and to meet you this way is wonderful. So thank you for that.
I want to start off by just setting the stage for those that aren't following your journey yet, and I'm using the word yet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back and maybe share some highlights around how things unfolded from, I guess, sort of when your wife first raised her concerns to the actual diagnosis and kind of bring us a little bit on that journey?
Yes, and that's a great place to start. My wife is the best ever. So, yeah, she pulled me aside a year ago, actually May of last year, and we sat down and she said, I think there's things that you may not realize you're doing. I mean, it was clear to me when I thought about it that I miss words or phrases and I just can't, put it together. But I never felt that that was a bad deal. But she helped me realize that. And she had talked to my kids. She had talked to my siblings. They had all said, yeah, we've heard these things and all that. So it became clear to me that I should take care of this in some way. So that was the beginning of it. Then I found out that UC Davis here in Sacramento, we're an hour away in Grass Valley. So UC Davis has this great department called Healthy Aging. And so I got into that, and the neuropsychologists were willing to do the big exam. It's not the diagnosis as much as it is the big exam. 3 hours, wow. Marianne. I said to myself, I'm going to fail this thing, man. At the end of the 3 hours, I said, I know I have messed up this exam. And they said, hey, Greg, don't worry about it. We get everybody in here. And they say the same thing. They said, however, it's your frontal cortex that is slowing down. And so when we gave you 15 words, and then later in the exam, we said, okay, now how many can you remember?
15's a lot.
I was like 3 or 4 out of 15. I said, oh, this is terrible. All that to say, when we had a session with these neuropsychologists, they said, so the diagnosis from this side is that you have mild cognitive impairment. So it's the MCI thing. And that means that it's the first part of whatever is going to be coming. So that was a big hit. I
Sure.
mean, I've been this communicator, man, for my whole life.
Yeah.
And so then to suddenly be told, I'm sorry, but you're really MCI,
Yeah.
man, I go, oh, that was hard. That was a hard hit for me. But, we'll come back to that maybe. So then I needed to have a neurologist. And so my primary physician said, Greg, you're doing okay. I mean, we get all the older people, aging people here, and he gave me this like number five exam, and I did the whole thing perfectly. You see, he said, and I said, well, I'm telling you, I'm not hearing that
Mm.
from my family and the people closest to me. So I'm wondering if you would refer me to the neurologist. And he said, okay, we want to show respect to the family and the people close to you. So sure, I'll be happy to do that. So then it took a while for me to be able to get the neurologist because that guy is like, it was a miracle I got him in January. So I had a good session with him. And he said, we need to do a PET scan for you because I had already done MRI with the two neuropsychologists. So they had seen it and they showed me the picture and all that. So the neurologist says, yeah, when a PET scan. So in February, I took the PET scan and went back to him and he said, I'm sorry to say you have Alzheimer's,
Mm.
a complete Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Oh man, that just really took me off. I figured it would probably be that, but it doesn't sound good when the neurologist says, I'm sorry, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so anyway, then there's ways that I dealt with it after that, but that was the beginning of wow.
So many things I want to dig into. First of all, kudos to your primary in giving respect, and you chose that word. What a
Yes,
big deal
thank
that
you.
is. But also, well, two things. You advocated for yourself
Hmm.
because the first sort of, no, you're okay, you're okay. Many of us would be like, okay, they know best. I'm okay. And you really didn't want to hear the answer anyway. So even
Yeah,
easier to do that, right?
yeah.
So that takes me to what made you sort of listen to your wife and your family? Because I do think a lot of times people are met with resistance
Yes.
and pushback and blockage and all the words.
Hmm.
And you didn't do that, or at least
Hmm.
it doesn't seem like you did a lot of that.
Yeah.
So what made you open?
That's a great question. There was something in me after my wife Shasta back in May a year ago, sitting me down. I go, okay, well, I like to think that I'm self-aware. So if I am self-aware, then maybe I need to hear what they're saying to me.
Mm.
And it was pretty early in this whole process where I just decided several things. One is my dad died from dementia in 2002, and we knew that there was things that were not happening, but he never talked about it.
Mm.
And so I thought, you know what, that I don't want to do that
Yeah.
because there's so much at stake here with the
Yeah.
people surrounding me, the people who love me. I want them to be a part of this whole journey.
Yeah.
So that's how I started with it. And boy, I'm telling you, Marianne, it was the best thing in the world I've ever done is to just bring everybody in close to me.
That's huge. And I can't help but think that having your dad go through something like that was probably, well, obviously a bad thing, but a
Hmm.
good thing and a bad thing
Hmm.
in that. Good because you probably saw a lot of things you didn't want to replicate. You didn't want to make
Hmm.
your family go
Yes.
through. So obviously that's good. But I have to say bad beyond it's my dad and that's happening, but bad
Hmm.
because I have to imagine that also set in with you like you know what this looks like.
Yes.
You know how this plays out. Is it better or worse to have that up close picture in your head of what it might look like?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, he was in a generation where they probably weren't doing a whole lot of diagnosing.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for that. But as our set, there are three of us siblings, and we've talked about this so many times in the last few years with all that's going on for me.
Yeah.
But they all said, yeah, wouldn't that have been nice if we could have asked him questions like, how are you? What are you feeling? What could we
Yeah.
do to be helpful to you, et cetera, et cetera. And it never was able to happen. So I said, man, there's no way I'm going to do this one like that.
Yeah. So, how does it feel? Do you feel significantly different about the diagnosis now, sitting here with me today, than you did, I don't know, a couple months out after hearing it?
Yeah, that's another good question, Marianne. You're good with the questions. That's great. No, because I think it's a really important thing here. It has actually caused me to feel more about Alzheimer's than less
Mm.
because I've seen more, context for me. And we've been on Facebook support groups, and man, you read those stories and you go, oh man,
Yeah.
there's where I'm headed. Therefore, I have developed a mantra that says one day at a time,
Mm.
one day. I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, I make sure that everything is working, and then I say, good, I have another day here. Because if I go too far to the future, it's a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, it just turns me inside out. So I said it's better to be in the now. The now is sacred. What am I going to do with it that will make it, something that I need to do this day or whatever?
That's commendable, but I also can't help but wonder, is it real? Because there has to be moments when you,
Oh, yes.
okay, I can't imagine you can put that aside and it's got to keep trying to get back in, right?
No, yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer in all the
Yeah.
emotions. It's okay. Those are all human, and we need to feel what we feel. So interestingly enough, when the MCI diagnosis came, that's not the worst thing, but it is the beginning. When I went home, I broke into tears
Yeah.
and just said, I can't do this.
Mm.
This is terrible. What am I going to do? I turned on some music,
Mm.
and one was a Celine Dion song called Courage. Man, I heard that thing and I said,
Yeah.
no, 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 I can't do that. So, and I've had many of those along the way. So it's part of accepting what is to say, you know what? Yeah, this hurts, man. This hurts really bad. So I'm going to let myself bring my emotions to the
Yeah.
front and cry for a while.
And you said when you get up in the morning, half jokingly, but I'm sure half real too, you kind of check all the parts.
Oh, yeah.
But how do you check the cognitive? Because I'm curious, do you know when you don't know?
Yeah.
Or do
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Do you wake up and think, I'm good, but you're really not good?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
do you know? Or do you know? Do you wake up and go, gee, this doesn't seem right?
Well,
Or do you not know yet?
no, that's a great point, the whole cognitive piece. But it becomes very clear to me, Marianne, as the day goes by.
Okay.
Oh man, I told Shasta the other day, I said, man, I'm just not getting these things.
Mm.
And I'm doing some writing. And so then I come to a block. My brain just stops. And so I go onto Google and try to look around. What is the right word for me to put in here? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. So it doesn't do it all the time, but it's pretty often.
Mm. So I've seen that you wrote that you're in this silent period of Alzheimer's where you're still able to think and write.
Yes.
It sounds like that's what we're describing, but it's also this period of sort of waiting.
Yes. Oh, exactly. I was just talking with Shasta this morning, and I said, what are the seven stages again? There's
Mhm.
three that I thought of. I mean, that was given to me at first, and one is mild. So that's where I got the diagnosis of mild MCI. Then the next one is moderate, where it starts really getting difficult. And then three is you're sort of out the rest of that stage. You don't understand anything.
And do they tell you that each phase lasts about?
Yes, there is sort of like the first stage is about, I think they said in my case, it could be 7 years for just that.
I want to say that's
I
fantastic, but
know.
I don't know if that's appropriate, but
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first thing I had heard was 3 to 4 years
okay.
in that. And then the next one, 3 to 4 years. And then the final one, unfortunately, is the longest. So what a deal, man.
Right. How ironic and unfortunate that that last phase is the longest phase.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening along with our conversation, please know that out of respect, I did ask if I could ask any question, and you
Yes.
told me everything was on the table. So
Yes.
if
Yes.
anybody's cringing, because
Yeah.
I'm trying to ask and think of the things.
And we have to say that everybody's journey is different.
Sure.
So what I saw may not be what anyone else will see,
Yeah.
but there is some kind of
Progression.
years that go by. Progression, yes.
How do you keep yourself, or do you keep yourself from sort of checking off the days?
Mm,
At our age, time just flies
yes,
crazy. Anyway, it feels like
it
two
does.
minutes ago was winter, right? And now we're heading into summer. So
Exactly.
how do you not get caught up in well, I've had another great month, but with the lens of that's one less I have to go?
No, I think that that kind of looking back is very helpful. It's the looking forward that's very difficult. So I have not done what you just described, but I do keep watch. I mean, my wife and I always do this gratitude journal, and we do it once a week. And it's really interesting to be looking back for what we're grateful for. And wow, it's amazing to me because when I look at what I'm grateful for, it shifts the whole body and mind about being, wow, this has been a great few weeks here, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how it can go.
You've spent most of your career helping other people
Hmm.
navigate change and, figure out their identity or navigate their identity and what that really means to them. So I'm curious now,
Hmm.
kind of sort of having to do that for yourself. Do you feel like there's this separation and that there's this new you, like that was me and before the diagnosis kind of
Hmm.
line in the sand?
Hmm.
Or do you feel like the same guy? I guess the real question is, have you been able to keep from tying this diagnosis to your identity?
That's a great question because it deals with the issue of identity. So if I've worked for all these years with leaders and teams and things like that, I'm not going to be able to do that now. So that was a hard process for me to think about that. But I had to in order to
Yeah.
still have purpose. And that's a big thing for me. I want to have purpose. And it took a while, but with my conversations with Shasta, we finally said, you know what? Maybe this is something I can do. Maybe I can talk about my journey.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different journey, but we can learn things from other people's journeys. So maybe I can write about that and then see what people do with it. And obviously, when you're writing for social media, you're basically going completely open.
Yeah.
That means anybody in the world can see it.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting
I'm sure.
think that one through and say, okay, do I want that? And I finally said, you know what? Yes, I want that because I want to show people what my journey is like, and they will have their own journey, but maybe they can learn something. So that finally has become very positive to me. And so I keep doing this.
Of course, I was just personally drawn to the story, but I can imagine that it really is helping people on so many levels, like people that are watching a loved one go through it and maybe don't have the words or don't have the support, and somebody going through it themselves where you're maybe a stage ahead, or I just think it can help on so many levels.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I started reading all the comments that came through, and we're talking hundreds of people writing
Yeah.
in on this thing. And I was looking for common threads. And the most common one was just blew me away. And that is people who have this diagnosis or are refusing to get a diagnosis,
Yeah.
yet still deny the fact that something is wrong.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is that at least for those of us who have early on been diagnosed, we have an opportunity to build the people around us because they want to love on us. But I don't know if you saw Seth Rogen's documentary.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, it is so good because his wife, her mom, that has Alzheimer's, and she talked to both of them, and and she said, "You have to promise me you will never share anybody that I have this Alzheimer's."
She was too proud.
He was too proud and shame, shame, those two words, pride and then shame. And that documentary they put out was absolutely fantastic because they were so sad that they could never bring other people into
Yeah.
her place. So that I feel like that's the big issue for me anyway. And not everybody can do that. You know, if you read those Alzheimer's support groups, man, they're far gone there, so it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But for those of us who start early,
It's a gift.
this is our opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge gift to the
Yeah,
world.
sure.
But I have to say, but I don't want to, or maybe it's an and. I feel like you're a unicorn. I mean, maybe not the only one out
Right,
there,
right.
but I feel like the
Yeah,
vast majority of people, it's just so
yeah,
overwhelming and so scary
yes.
and maybe I can't help but wonder, maybe because of your background, because of the years of being on stage, because of the years of sort of knowing how to speak and to make your words mean something, maybe that set you up for this ability. I don't know, but I'm thankful for everybody.
I like the unicorn concept.
Well,
But
I wish not, but I do
yes,
think it's probably not the norm.
well, that's the thing. But I would like to make it the norm
I love that.
because we're not talking about standing on a platform shouting out. We're talking about intimacy with the family.
Yeah.
You know, the best thing I did in this whole thing was when I got the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, I immediately sent my text out to my kids. I have three kids. They're in their 40s. So when they got that text from me saying, "Hey, can you join this Zoom? I have some things to share with you," they pretty much knew what I was going to say. But
Yeah.
when they were all there on the Zoom, I said, "Well, this is it.
Mm.
This is Alzheimer's. Clear and whatever, this is it." And we just all cried
Yeah.
on Zoom. And it was a good cry. And then we had one of the best conversations I've ever had with them because they wanted to know things and
Yeah.
all that. And ever since then, if I had never done this, how would they be doing this on their own? You know, so I now have phone calls for each of them every week.
Mm.
We talk. And without doubt, they will ask me, "How are you doing, Dad?" And then I could update them what's happening and this kind of a thing. I don't think that would have happened had I not come out and just said, "You know what? Wow, this is the deal."
Yeah. What a gift.
So it's not like the platform thing. It's not speaking out. That is my social media stuff. But man, I wish families would just open up with each other.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I understand. A lot of people have a hard time with that.
I mean, it is a true showing of authenticity and it's best form. I mean, you are just really taking them through it all with you, but it is a gift to them too.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that piece of it being a gift to them, but now that I
Mhm.
talk to you, I can see that clearly.
Mhm.
I'm curious, what do you grieve the most? Because you must, maybe it's already passed,
Mhm.
maybe you worked through the grief, but I
Yes.
have to imagine there's things that you just know inevitably
Yes.
you won't be able to experience and maybe you
Yes.
thought you would.
Yes.
What is it for you that you really grieve the most?
Yeah, it's a good one, man. I will say I did a post on this last week, I think it was, but when I walked through the living room, the kids all bought me a year or two ago, you know, those digital pictures,
Yeah.
and they just change themselves. So every time I walk by that, the three grandkids
Mm.
pictures come up, and I stop there. I let some tears come out, and the big question was, will they ever remember me? I mean, this one's an 8, the others are turning 3, 3-year-olds. I mean, that just hits me every single time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those realities. So that's probably the biggest one for me. And then, of course, the biggest one would be my wife and what she's going to have to go through when I get to that point. I mean, I just can't even imagine it. Yeah, I think a lot about that. That's a big grief for me.
The kids, the grandkids, it's interesting when you said that. I was thinking, my husband and I, we have 3 grandchildren as well.
Mm,
And we often talk about, we just hope that we get to the age where they can remember us, right? So we can
yes.
build these core memories
Yes.
so that they'll carry them with them, because we both have really strong, fond memories of our grandparents and had
Mm,
really strong relationships. And they were pivotal people in our lives, and we want to create that for our
mm.
grandchildren. But the interesting thing is, and the reason I bring that up is, we talk about it because we know that it's inevitable. I guess the difference is it's just caused you to really look at those things with a more real and definite lens than we would look at them with,
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The lens. Yeah. There's a different lens that we get here.
Yeah.
And, so there's a moment of grief. The other is, I'm glad I at least have them now. And how long will this now be? Okay, well, let's go as long as we can, and that kind of a thing. But your point is well made. It's a very difficult one.
The other thing that I thought of, again, another gift I think in this that I hadn't thought about is, you said, you really grieve. What I heard you say is not, I really grieve losing the time with Shasta, which of course you do, but it's
Yes.
more about, I'm going to say, I'm going to use the word burden, or the trouble that she's going to go through, or the hard times, all the words,
Yes.
whatever word you want to put on it.
Yes. Yeah.
But I feel that I just recognized yet another gift, because you're able to have so many conversations with her now.
Yes.
You're probably able to have all the hard ones.
Yes.
I want this for you
Yes.
in those days. I
Yes.
want you to do this, even though I want you. I imagine, because you guys have been very open, and I can tell the connection and the conversations are very real, even when they're hard,
Mhm.
that you're able to have all those conversations. And to me, I think that is a gift as well.
Boy, you're spot on. We have both said to each other, this is probably the best era of our marriage.
Wow.
20 years, we just went through 20-year celebration in March. But man, it either breaks you up or it brings together. And it has just brought us together in a way it's probably no other way. I mean, when you look down the road and you see death coming along somewhere along the way,
Yeah.
wow, that makes you really want to do whatever is most important. And to me, she is the most important. So we've had a lot of conversations on that. We've talked so much about death. We've read books on death and, just understanding that whole experience. And, oh man, yeah,
Wow.
it's interesting.
I was just thinking about a book that I did with a Facebook community I run, and we read A Year to Live by Stephen Levine. Levine. I'm going to say it wrong.
Mm,
So the whole theory of the book is that if you had a year to live, what would you do differently? What would you say differently? What would you care about more? How would you spend your time?
beautiful.
It forces you to go back and reflect on things that hurt you in the past,
Yeah.
and maybe how you could make amends with some of those. The purpose is to really make you think about all the things that I imagine you're thinking about right now.
Yes, for sure.
I actually did a full summary and review of the book on a previous episode. I'll actually put the link in the show notes in case anybody's interested in hearing a little bit more about it. But in thinking about it, it makes me wonder, do you find yourself looking at things, thinking about things, prioritizing things a lot differently than you did before?
So, number one, the gratitude journal has become really important to us. We've done this for years, but man, this shifts the whole thing. So that's really good.
Yeah.
And we sat down one Sunday and said, okay, what are all the things that we need to do before I go? man, we had like 40 things on there, And so,
That's a rough
yes,
Sunday
oh man, it
conversation.
was totally. But we realized that would be one way I can help her if there are things that I can do now. And we went to a lawyer, for example, and said, okay, so how should we do this? And and
Yeah.
trust, and building a trust and all this
Yeah.
kind of thing. I mean, there were a bunch of things like that I could actually do now. So it's going to be helpful in the end. It just is a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of work and just having to focus on all that. But
Yeah.
it's very helpful, I think.
I mean, in a lot of ways, again, it's probably, there's a lot of it that we should already be talking about and doing in our marriages anyway. But to your
Yes.
point, 20 years and you didn't do
Yes.
some of these things and connect in some of
Exactly.
these ways, right? So
Yes,
it's a lesson in so many ways.
it is.
So
Yeah.
now that you're here and you're walking this journey,
Mm.
what do you hope to discover, create, share? This is a whole new chapter. I mean, what do you really want to get out of it and give?
Boy, that's the big question. I think it's the right question to ask. And for me, I've thought a lot about it, obviously. That's the thing about death along the line. I mean, we're all going to die, but this one is an unusual
Yeah.
one. So I've thought a lot about it. That's the power, that's one of the gifts that Alzheimer's gives to us that have it. What's most important for me?
Yeah.
So I said right off the bat, I want to be with Shasta as much as I can be and to do fun things and all that. The other thing is she gave me a gift in December called storyworth.com. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is like the best gift ever because every Monday when the question comes and she does the question. So I've now done like 21 chapters or something like that. I mean, so it's every week I write and tell a story and all that kind of thing. So by the end of this year, they will actually turn it into a hardcover book if I want, or if I want to keep going, I can keep going.
I love that.
But it has helped me so much, Marianne, when I have to sit there and think, oh man, what was that story that I did way back when? And at first my brain is not working at all. But the more I sit there, the more it starts coming back. And so I'm quickly typing this thing, and doing the whole thing. But that has been really important to me because the kids will get it
Yes.
and the grandkids will get it.
Yes.
And, man, that's such a great gift.
Yeah. Such a great gift and legacy. I'll tell you, one of the reasons I decided to put the podcast on YouTube was if something happens to me, as long as the world is the way it is today and the internet is the way it is today, it'll stay there.
Yes.
And I thought the same thing. I thought, you know what? My grandkids will get to see
Yes.
their grandma doing some of this stuff that they're too young to know about or appreciate at this point, but it'll be there
Yes.
for them. And I just think that's so great. Such a great
Yeah.
legacy to leave for
Yeah.
them.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you're doing that, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Good stuff. So for someone that's listening
Hmm.
that have someone going through a similar journey as you, what message do you want to send them?
Yeah, I've tried to write about that in the social media posts. And it really is interesting to see. So, what could they hear that would be empowering and transformative and that kind of thing? So, I've tried to talk about those things that sometimes, as we've both said, sometimes the support groups just never get to. And yet, it's so tragic. So, what could they do that would help them feel good
Yeah.
about the loved one or the friend or whoever's going through it? To be able to do those things, even if when I get to that point, it'll be a whole different story. But to be able to at least look, this is like doing good work without getting affirmation. Now that's hard. That's really, really hard. But there is something that happens to us when we do that. Like there have been times where I walked in San Francisco. I was there for 20 years, and all the homeless people. So I made friends with about 15 of those homeless guys. And you know what they said to me? One time they were all gathered together, And I said, man, I wish I could give you money. And then they all said, you know what, Greg? You're doing something way more important than that.
Mm.
You're spending time with us. You're seeing us as human beings, and you've treated us this way. Thank you, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a whole new concept to me. So it may not go down that path with an Alzheimer's patient, for example, but there's something I walked away from that group just feeling good that, wow, I had actually done something. I thought they needed money. They said, no, we need love. So,
Ah, I see. So you're spreading awareness, and you may never see the fruitfulness of spreading that awareness because you'll get to a different stage in your journey here, but realize that there's something in it anyways, that it's worthwhile anyways, even if you don't see the fruit of your labor. I get it.
yeah, it's interesting. So there's things that we can do even with those who are out of touch.
Right. Different ways to connect or ways to support the caregiver, even if the person that has Alzheimer's doesn't know and can't recognize what's being done for them.
And I talked to one of the women that made a comment, and I said, you know what? Your husband does not want you to say anything. So I said to her, I said, you know, that's a hard thing. You may not get him to ever do that. However, what you need is to put a group around you that will support you because we can guarantee the fact that caregivers have it harder than the person with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So bring people together. We have to have that.
Absolutely. There's so much strain on our caregivers,
Ah,
and it's a lot. I've heard over and over and over that A, you need to take care of yourself
yes.
because you can't help them if you
Oh,
don't take care of
man.
yourself. And B, you need to get support. You need to ask for help. You need to get support. You can't do it all. So I completely agree. That's really important. And as I think about someone that I talked to many interviews previously,
Mm,
who had a mom that died of dementia, and she was telling me that one of the things that she learned was that when they get to the end and they don't remember, their normal operating engagement with you is different, that instead of trying to keep bringing them back,
hmm.
instead of trying to keep reminding them, no, mom, remember you did this, or no, mom, you were that, or I was this, instead meet them where they are and just enjoy them for the person they are then.
Hmm.
And I remember her saying how much benefit the caregivers can get out of creating many more memories with their person,
Mm,
just in a different way. So I think maybe
mm.
that's a lesson, is to just try to let people be who they become and meet them where they are instead of trying to hold them to who they were.
Great lesson. Great point, I think. I've read so many stories about that, you just take them where they are. Oh, they say, oh yeah, someone was out. Well, we'll take a look at that, or whatever, because it's futile
Yeah.
to try to get them to be who we knew they were at one point. That's a bummer.
It's a bummer, and it's really on us because we're
Yeah,
trying to bring it back, right? We're trying to
exactly.
take it back to who it
Yes.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're laughing and making light at it, but obviously, anyone going through this, it's a very difficult topic. I think the irony in the fact that, we think by trying to pull the person back, we're helping them, and that it's really all about trying to help us or make us feel better. I think that's where the irony comes in. I think that's the part that's a little bit humorous when you really take a step back and think about it. And on the note of taking a step back, have you taken a step back and sort of reflected on how it's going with opening up and taking this so public? Is it what you expected? You had said that you joined a bunch of groups and you read hundreds and hundreds of messages and forums. And so I'm just curious, did anything unexpected pop up?
Yeah, I was very curious
Yeah.
too. That's kind of why I decided to do that. I had that opportunity, and so I read, and there was, of course, a lot of diversity, but there were some threads that went through, and the biggest one basically was those people that just can't be open about it.
Yeah.
So the people around them can't bring other people in to help and to love and, the whole thing. So that was probably the biggest one.
What I see is just this huge amount of outpouring of support. And
Yes.
did you expect it to be at that level?
Oh, no, not even close.
Yeah.
Because I was very nervous to do the first one. It was in LinkedIn.
Sure.
But when I saw that response, I go, man, what in the world?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was amazing.
It's great. I love that for you. So as we start to wrap up, because I know your time is precious and I don't want to take your whole day, I want to know, how do you want to be remembered? I mean, not just later, but now. And what do you want people to take away?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually thought about that, and I want to be known as someone who has a purpose, and the purpose happens to be with people that are dying left and right, with Alzheimer's. And obviously that's because I have that diagnosis, so I'm sort of hitting that, but there's all kinds of other dementias for sure. So I want to be a person of purpose. I want to be a person who loves well, whether it's my wife, my kids, the grandkids, my siblings, my best friends, all those groups of people that have all been brought into. They know exactly where I'm at this moment. But I want to be a loving person. Love is probably the strongest thing in the world. So I wouldn't want to let that one go. Those kinds of relationships, that's really important to me.
I love that.
And, I think that's good enough for me. If those two things happen, I will be happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I suspect that's who you've always been, because you tell the story of the homeless people in Seattle and just making those people feel seen.
Yeah.
That shows your character and who you always have been.
That's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all want to be seen. That's the cool part.
All want to be seen, regardless of our stature, position, color, economic status, sexual preference, nationality, religion, whatever it may be. We just want to be seen. And you did that for those people. So I suspect that's who you are at the core.
Well, I hope so. Thank you. Yeah.
I could not thank you enough for talking with me today. Thank you again, really, for giving me some of your precious time. And I know people are going to want to follow your journey, and I will put all your links out there in the show notes. But where are you most active? Where do you want to direct people to? Is there one platform over the other, or are they all about equal?
Facebook probably have the longest posts. Instagram makes you go smaller. So that one's a little...
little bite.
LinkedIn is not too bad, but it's a professional thing. So I don't want to just keep giving them that. Yeah. Today, I actually gave them in LinkedIn a post. So I'm trying to do that every once in a while so they know what's going on. Yeah. But Facebook is the biggest, the main one. All right. Yeah.
So you heard it here. Follow on Facebook, but we will put all of the links in the show notes for people to follow along.
Marianne, thank you for inviting me. What a gift. I really appreciated that.
This is a gift to me. So I appreciate your time. I was very nervous about doing this because I feel like it's such an important topic and such an important mission. And this has just been a highlight. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of Message in the Middle. I hope you found something in this conversation that reminded you that you're not alone and that midlife isn't about winding down. It's about waking up. You're not done. You're just becoming. If this episode speaks to you at all, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And if you're enjoying the show, I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment to leave a review. It really helps other women find this community and this podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself.